Welcome to r/IDOWorkHereLady, where we share stories about employees that are mistaken for customers. And the first story is, when you're having a good day at job, but some frickin' entitled guy walks in to break it. Hi, I'm an 18-year-old dude from the Philippines, and I live in province areas, which is outside from cities. We have a family food business. We mainly sell only a type of exotic food, and I was in charge of the counter. I often get my guitar and sing if all my customers are all eating and if I'm not busy. Everything was okay until this man just came in and just snuck out of food right in front of me, without even telling me. Sir, you can't just take that out without my permission. Guy, yeah I can. Me and the cashier here are close friends. He was referring to my sister, who took my place yesterday because I was out. Sir, I'm the cashier here. Guy, no you're not. The lady is that cashier. Where is she so I can talk to her? Me, explaining that she only subbed me yesterday due to reasons, and explain him why you can't just do these certain things. Guy, I don't care, kid. I'll pay for it anyways, and you don't work here. And who are you to call her your sister? You don't even look alike. P.S. We're half siblings. Me, sir, I'm just saying that you can't just walk in and take stuff at a public food store. He started to raise his voice, cursing me. Gladly, my sis came in the action as well, known by family that I'm a very gentle person, and still remain this state even if I'm mad now. My sis then yelled at him, to find out that he was my sister's ex-boyfriend. This scene made many customers in silence. Then after that, sis banned him from coming near us, and I lost my job. Then she took over to ensure things cannot get worse. Now I got demoted to a table cleaner, but I still get to sing for my regular customers. Ugh, that guy ruined it for me. The next story is Proto-Karen in the wild. Okay, the required backstory. I have an excellent memory, and some of my wife's stories I've actually written down. Well, just because they were so good. I got this story from both my wife and her assistant manager. I am now 60-ish, and my wife is 40-ish but looks 20-ish. Yeah, there is an age difference, but that's been covered at the end of another story. You've asked for more Karen and Chad stories, and my wife has given me many of them. My wife and I bought the local hobby store about 12 years ago. My wife Katie's always been in retail, and me not so much, but a little. I now paint landscapes on canvas, so yeah, there's some retail there, but nothing like working in a Sears or Penny's or Wally World. Early on in our marriage, my wife would sometimes cry at how she was treated by this customer or that, or worse, by those that are supposed to be supporting her and only end up throwing her under the bus. It's made her into the wonderful owner and manager she is today. One thing to remember is that at the time, the closest hobby shop was 2 hours away, though they've gotten a tad bit closer now. Still, the closest one is an hour away. So buckle up and let me punch your e-ticket for this ride. We'd only owned the hobby store for maybe about 7 months at the time, about a dozen years ago, and as I said earlier, the owner/manager/my wife, Katie, looks like she should still be in high school then. We still get stares as we walk hand in hand through Wally World because I look more like her dad, and we sometimes take advantage of that. So Katie had spent months rearranging the layout so that it fit what she thought was better traffic management. In some stores, they purposefully put something on one side of the store and the companion to that something on the other end, so that you have to walk through the whole store to find things. I guess it has something to do with impulse shopping. Katie believes that you'll browse if you like the atmosphere and how things are laid out. She is of the mind that things should be put together as much as possible. So this one day, a woman comes into the store and just stands there huffing and puffing in a fit of anger. She stomps her foot and grabs the first employee by the arm. That employee had a load of heart cushions, as it was close to Valentine's, and the arm grabbing made her spill all of them onto the floor. These were red velvet creatures that suck up dust and dirt like a vacuum, and would require time now to dust them all off. Karen, who is of course Karen before there were Karens, so we'll call her Proto-Karen for prehistoric Karen. Now, Proto-Karen didn't have that bob that they do today, but she was a dumpy, dour-looking woman who could remind someone of what a person would look like if they had a piece of fresh horse manure shoved up their nose. The assistant manager, who is today as she was then Judy, happened to be at the front of the store and rushed to help the employee pick up the plushy hearts. Proto-Karen stood over them, tapping her foot impatiently. Remember, Katie had only just become the owner a few months prior, and so people were still trying to get a feel about her and know how she'd react in certain situations. But that is to come. Judy stood up and asked, just what was that? I needed to get her attention, Proto-Karen said in that entitled voice of the I want your manager subspecies of the human race. So you make her drop these hearts, getting them dirty? How rude, Judy said, with hands on hips. Oh, Judy was yet to be a match for the awesomeness of the enraged Proto-Karen. It would take a couple more years of weathering before Judy could hold her own. Just who do you think you are? I'm a paying customer, and when I want something, I demand attention. It's her own default for dropping those. She should learn to do her job better. What did you do, go to the stupid school and hire the rejects? From somewhere in the store, they could hear an enraged, what? Now this was a large store, and it had a whole lot of things in it. But after that what, you could have heard a pin drop as the clippity-clop-clop of heels of heck reverberated off the walls of the store. Katie, remembering all those times when her manager threw her under the bus, came storming right up to Proto-Karen and got straight into her face. "I don't know who the heck you think you are, but this is my store, understand? You do not treat my employees like they're dire garbage or something you can just trot over. These are my employees. I pay them, I train them, and I want them to feel comfortable working in my store, understand? When you waltz through those doors, you will do so with the understanding that you are going to get the best service and help we can provide. But under no circumstances will you disrespect a single person in my store, understand? I have the power to ban you for a day, a week, a month, or for your life, and I will do so if you ever raise your voice to one of my employees again, understand?" The Proto-Karen in her habitat had just been confronted by the voracious creature known as Owner. It's not pretty, and they set about to do battle. You? Why are you still in high school? Shouldn't you get your parents' permission to work and you need to learn to talk to your betters? I know the Owner, and I've known him for a long time. I don't know who you think you are, Missy, but you just yelled at the wrong person. Proto-Karen said, "Judy, call the police. I'll trespass her off the property." These two women were not going to back down. Trespass me? I think not. And she pulled out her flip phone and dialed a number. Now, according to Judy, this was a transformation of awareness, her face to the predicament of the Proto-Karen, as she began to understand her armor was not going to be enough for the ensuing battle. "Yes, Jim, I need you to come down here to the store and fire this little girl, and give me a discount for the way I've been disrespected." Yes, her name. It's Katie." "What? What do you mean?" Now the police have arrived, and Judy went over and spoke with them. "You what? No. You can't do that, and I don't believe for a minute. Hello? The police came up to Katie, and she said, "I'd like to trespass this woman from the property. She needs to know that she's banned from this place for the next 6 months, and then we'll revisit her being able to shop here." "You're the owner?" "I am." "Ma'am," the one police officer said to the Proto-Karen, "would you come with us?" "Oh, heck no. I'm not done here." "Yes, you are," Katie said with narrowed eyes. One of the police officers took her by the arm to gently guide her to the outside when the Proto-Karen, not yet aware of the danger that lurks, lashed out with her purse and struck the officer in the side of the head, knocking his hat off. Suddenly, in a flash as it is, they had her on the ground and handcuffed. The security footage clearly showed that the coordinated attack of the men in blue was too much for the Proto-Karen, and she was led away to the awaiting cruiser. Katie had some paperwork that needed filled out, but the Proto-Karen had lost the fight with the beasts in blue, working in tandem to bring down the wild prey. Epilogue. Proto-Karen went to court and lashed out at the police officers for their obvious, overly ambitious takedown of her person. The judge watched the security footage, listened to Katie as she unfolded the events prior to the officers getting there, and then the officer's testimony, before listening to her tirade for 20 minutes. I think she was going to be lenient with her, until she started attacking the court system for making her come in, and the judge for even thinking he was in a position to sit in judgment of her. When all the steam had been extinguished from the Proto-Karen, the judge ordered her to serve 100 hours at the Center for Disabled Children, and another 100 hours at the county hospice. She had to pay a hefty fine, and then he would look at the reports from all concerned to see if her anger had subsided. It didn't, and she had to do another 100 hours, and that was the extent of all the judge could do. I don't think she ever learned her lesson. Some people don't, you know. The third story is, no, I'm not imaginary. I'm not sure if this fits here, but I think that this is the best subreddit for my small story. My father and mother got divorced just after I was born. Both went on to have many children, so I have many siblings, but there's a 7-year age gap between me and the oldest sibling. Because they lived in 2 different cities more than a few hours apart, I only got to visit my father on the weekends. Luckily, there was a direct bus line between the cities, which I learned to take at an early age. So when I'm around 12 years old, I got off from school a bit early Friday. Instead of waiting for the normal time to take the bus, I called first my mom and then my dad, and we agreed that I would take the first bus. This meant that instead of arriving late in the evening, I would be in Father's City just after midday. So my father suggested that I could go to the kindergarten and pick up my 2 siblings there, since they would be happy to see me early. Both siblings are girls, so let's call the older one for older sister, and the younger one for young sister. I agreed, and just after arriving in Father's City, I went to the kindergarten to pick them up. The first person I see when I enter the kindergarten is old sister. She screams Lord Acanto, "I love you," and runs over and gives me a big hug. I tell her that I'm there to pick up her and young sister, so old sister runs over to get young sister, while I start packing their stuff up. Then one of the pedagogues that works at the kindergarten comes out and asks me, "Are you Lord Acanto?" and the older sibling to older sister and young sister? I say yes, that's me. She quickly turns around and goes away, but a few moments later another pedagogue arrives, and we have a quick conversation that goes something like this. "So you're Lord Acanto, older sibling to old sister and young sister?" "Yes, that's me." "It's so crazy that you're real." "What?" "That you're not imaginary." Our conversation is cut short by the arrival of my 2 siblings and all the pedagogues at the kindergarten. They look at me. compare me to my younger siblings, and talk about how amazing it is that I'm not imaginary. It turns out that old sister and young sister talk about me quite often, but since the pedagogues had never seen me, and my father and bonus mother had never told them about me, they kinda just assumed that I was like an imaginary friend. An older sibling imagined by my sisters. So they were rather surprised when I showed up in the flesh. And the last story is, you want to speak to the supervisor? While in college, I worked as the escalated transfer supervisor at a call center for a large Canadian pizza chain. One New Year's Eve, it was so busy in the call center that the customer service department started taking orders to ease the traffic, myself included. Suddenly, I get connected with Karen. Before I even have a chance to speak, she's already irate and rude. Karen, why in the heck was I on hold for 30 minutes? Me, ma'am, I apologize for the wait, but it's New Year's Eve and everyone in the country is ordering pizza. Karen, that's unacceptable. I demand to speak to a customer service agent. Me, I can transfer if you'd like, but I'm in the customer service department and can talk to you about your complaint. Karen, like heck you are. Transfer me to customer service immediately. Me, okay, but due to the busy day, you may be on hold for a while. Karen, I said now. So I added her to my customer service queue, which was 20 calls deep. After 30 minutes, she's up. Me, hi, you've reached company name customer service. My name is Superfla. How may I help you? Karen, I was on hold for 30 minutes waiting. Hold on, wasn't I just speaking to you? Me, yes ma'am. Karen, still yelling. This is outrageous. I insist on speaking to the manager. Me, absolutely, please hold. And add her to my queue once again. Now keep in mind that the escalated transfer supervisor, me, is the final stage of customer service, and I hold all the power. I continue to take orders for another 25 minutes or so, then pick up Karen's call. Me, hi there, you've reached Superfla. I believe you asked to speak to a manager. How can I help? Karen, in a desperate tone, you're the manager too? Me, yes ma'am. You see, because it's so busy, I've been taking calls all day to ease the traffic and make things run a little quicker. Karen, oh my goodness, I've been waiting for over an hour. Me, I did tell you that I could help when I took your initial call. Karen, you did. Me, would you like me to take your order now? Karen, yes. It was so satisfying to let all the air out of her like that. I hope you enjoyed those stories, and if you liked it, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button.